I made a very intimate YouTube video discussing exactly how I felt about Toriyama. And when I was younger, I just appreciated him as a mangaka and as a writer and things of that nature. But as I've gotten older and I have children, I still have like dreams. I still have things I want to accomplish and stuff like that. I think as someone who wants to simultaneously live a family oriented life while also being successful, I think that Toriyama is very influential in that way because he accomplished that in a way that seems inhuman. Most people cannot pull off the type of lifestyle that he pulled off, and he did not even intentionally do so. And he had to constantly wrestle with the repercussions of achieving such massive success so quickly. To me, like, it's just very, very relatable for me personally because a lot of the avenues that I've chased, music, art, and things of that nature, if you were to get some form of success, the same, I would essentially experience the same side effect. I would have to deal with people, and everything that comes with that massive success. And I relate a lot to Toriyama's reaction to that massive success. Whenever he gained such massive success that he couldn't even have a private wedding, that was a real eye opener for me in terms of like how achieving success can affect your life and how certain types of people just aren't cut out for the pressures of society when it comes to being worshipped as a legend and things of that nature. So I think I look up to Toriyama for a lot of things, but one of the main things I look up to him for is was his ability to successfully live the type of life that he lived, where he could spend time with his children, he could do exactly what he loved and be as creative as possible without anything bogging him down really other than his editors. And I think that that is something that people should look up to him for and should also try to accomplish. And I think that they should also look up to how humble he was as an individual when he gained that success, because there's a lot of people that become successful that people look up to who in reality are very egotistical, and despite the fact that they're successful, they're not necessarily a personality to appreciate. And I think that's a huge part of Toriyama's appeal, is that his personality, the way he was humble and, like you said, Derek, lighthearted, was something that is again underrated and should be appreciated if you idolize someone. I think his example is more important in terms of somebody who has celebrity status to me than just about anybody else I can think of.
It sounded like when you think of Toriyama, you think more of his mind than of his work now. Now that you're an adult and you're doing your own art, you look to him as a model to emulate for how to live based off of not his external creations, but the manner in which he chose to produce those creations.
Yeah, that's right. I just think that he was very emotionally immature in a way that people overlook. Most people at such a young age, they naturally fall into this rock star mentality where they sort of give in to their ego. And Toriyama, like, was naturally against that. And I think that people misconstrue his social awkwardness for his dedication to being as humble as possible. I think people overlook that that is sort of a goal of his to, and you can see this in his interviews. He's constantly downplaying his ability to do things. He's constantly trying to keep himself in check. He's like the man was a massive success, but if you asked him, he would give you a very humble answer about that success. And I think that that is an example that people can and should most definitely look up to.
I've always wondered where this came from. Did it come from his parents, or was this something that he decided to practice on his own, right? Because his parents, we know about his father. He was an automotive mechanic and he owned an auto repair shop, which is where Toriyama gained his love for cars and motorcycles and other vehicles. But was his dad like that as well? We don't know. But you could see it in Toriyama's interviews right from the start. Like when he's doing the Tetsuko's Room interview, he is asked about his success with Dr. Slump and how much money he made. And he had no idea that he had earned that much, tens of millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of yen. They're like, oh, really? Huh. And it's like something that doesn't even cross his mind that he's one of the richest men in Japan. It's just not part of his ego. And he even said, like, oh, even when I'm in my hometown and I see that they have Dr. Slump displayed in the comic book stores in the front window, I think, oh, they're only doing that because this is my hometown, right? But it was like that all over Japan, and it wasn't something that he absorbed into him and made like part of his outer persona. He always stayed someone who was unaffected by his success.
I'm naturally psychoanalytical, so like I notice these things about people, and it's not easy to like gain my respect in that way, especially if I don't know you as a person. So, looking at all of his decisions, everything that he went through, it's just in terms of celebrities and people who have found massive success, I can't really think of anyone who handled it in a way that I personally appreciate more. Like, I can't think of anyone who has that sort of status that I appreciate how they handled that success and how they managed their life more than Toriyama. People really don't give him enough credit for how reserved he was and how he just wanted to spend time with his family and draw. Like, it's just, the pressure to live an extravagant life when you make that much money is extremely high. People kind of fall into this trap where, they're pressured to live a certain way once they reach a level of success. And I think that's part of the reason he sort of put it out of his mind all the time that he had that massive success, and he always humbled himself. And I also think that fed into his ability to constantly be creative and innovative and work. Because otherwise, if he felt like he achieved massive success and that he was the success that he wanted to become, I think that would have taken away from his motivation to continuously be innovative and creative. So I also think that he may not have been completely consciously aware of that, but I think part of him as an artist was consciously aware that he had to continue to fuel his creativity in that way.
It was actually Dr. Slump that made Toriyama a millionaire. It wasn't Dragon Ball.
Or something. He was traveling with his kids who were then adults, and he was like running around on the airport, and those. But he on the trolleys, he was using the trolleys to like ride the trolleys and have fun with the trolleys, and he was in his 50s.
Yeah, you can feel that youthful energy in his work. All of the silly jokes and the perverted humor and the bright colors, the bright personality of all these characters. And then the contrasts with the opposite. You get Vegeta and Piccolo, who are all grim and stuff like that. But then, of course, the way that they transform over time and become people who are happy because of other people in their lives, and that sense of growth through the bonds that you have from being alone to finding someone, even if it's your rival, right? And you person you are not, I don't know if hate is the word, but like you have direct focus against that person, and yet they help you grow. There's some really profound lessons there in how to live.